So we're getting a question now from Abigail Dulgar. What can we expect in the Middletown area along the Connecticut River?
Well, the Connecticut River is tidal, and, we do have tides that make all their way up into Hartford. So the fortunate thing, as Connor mentioned, is that the storm is actually going to cross land probably around the time of low tide. So, yes, it's going to be forcing, water up the river. But maybe not to the degree that it would if we had the storm moving into the Connecticut River area and any other tidal river or even Long Island Sound during the time of a high tide. We're going to get to more questions in just a minute, but first, Connor and I want to update you on the forecast. Let's go to the graphics. And, this has been a very active season so far. Of course, we got hit with Elsa back in early July, and we had about a month without any tropical activity. Then along came Fred, which soaked us earlier this week, then Grace, which really impacted Mexico, and Henri, which it's going to be moving up the coast and is moving up the coast right into Connecticut. So we've had 8 storms so far. An average season sees 14, so we're already well underway. The updated forecast is calling for 15 to 21 storms, 7 to 10 hurricanes, and of course, the one we have right now is one of those, and major hurricanes 3 to 5 is the current forecast. Now, this hurricane that we're going to be dealing with tomorrow as probably a strong tropical storm is currently a Category 1 hurricane, Henri, packing winds of 75 miles an hour. So it's on the lower range of the Saffir-Simpson scale. The Category 1 goes all the way up to 95 miles an hour. Could it strengthen to a Category 2? Possibly. It's not expected, but it certainly is going to try to weaken once it gets over some colder water. But, once it gets over that Gulf Stream, and it will, that's when intensification could occur. And sometimes we get surprised by more rapid intensification than originally thought. We've been impacted so much over the last 10 years by tropical systems. Of course, we had Irene back in 2011, which went up across western Connecticut. A year later, it was Sandy, Superstorm Sandy, that went into New Jersey. Last year, we had Isaias, which caused devastating power outages. Elsa had a lower impact than all 3 of those storms. So we've had some really bad power outages over the last 10 years. Here's Henri, now located to the south of New England currently, and the track has it moving to the north, and then as we talked about in the last half hour, it's going to start curving to the north-northwest, and therefore we expect the landfall over Connecticut, and there is the expected landfall. Of course, that could change a little bit, but it might be making landfall on Connecticut, say around mid to late afternoon tomorrow. The storm impact is high in terms of flooding, power outages, coastal flooding as well, and there's even the chance for a tornado or 2. A hurricane warning for a good portion of southern Connecticut. Elsewhere, tropical storm warning. There's that storm surge warning. Unfortunately, the heaviest storm surge may come in at low tide instead of late tomorrow evening into the wee hours of Monday morning. We also have a flood watch in effect for the entire state for 3 to 6 inches of rain. All right, so Hartford right now is looking okay. It's warm. There's New London, 77. It's New London that could get those wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour. Got a couple of showers in southern Connecticut now, not related to Henri, but Henri is off to our south. And as you can see, as we widen out this view, you can see the eye there. And of course, with more on the timing of the rain and how much rain we can expect and how much wind we can expect, here's Connor.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, a lot to break down here, talking about some flash flood potential and strong wind potential with those subsequent power outages. As we get into tomorrow morning with the arrival of Henri, 7 a.m., we could see those wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour across the Connecticut shoreline. And with that, some isolated showers and thunderstorms. Also, with those initial bands, the possibility of some isolated tornadoes, a low risk for that 7 p.m. So 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Henri makes its way through eastern Connecticut, giving those strong winds and also downpours in western Connecticut. You can see how it stalls out a little bit. So there's going to be an almost stationary point with this storm. And with that, we just have hours and hours of those deep reflectivities. It's really coming down in western Connecticut. And then by noon on Monday, you can look at this model projection as it starts to blend into depression status. We're still getting heavy rainfall. So yeah, we have a lot of rain on the way for Sunday, but by the time we get to Monday afternoon, we could be seeing those those rain totals up to 4 to 8 inches in some areas in eastern Connecticut. You can see how this model projection has Danbury at 6, Waterbury 5, and then for eastern Connecticut we see less, but still we're going to get downpours. I mean, 1 inch is not nothing. I mean, just in the right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, we could be looking at some isolated flash flooding in some of those areas. Here's a look at those wind speeds. We're going to be looking at those strong winds right off the bat for eastern Connecticut, and then we see widespread 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts, and then they start to dampen as we approach the evening, and we start to turn our attention to the ongoing flooding that we'll have across the state. Looking at our severe weather threat, as I mentioned, marginal threat of severe weather, and the primary portion of that is the possibility of isolated tornadoes. Low temperatures tonight down into the 70s, and we'll see those bouncing over into the upper 70s for tomorrow, so we barely even notice the temperatures changing during Henri. Look at our 7-day forecast. Temperatures not too bad on Monday, 83 degrees, but with the power outages in some areas lasting 48 hours, that becomes a concern with a potential heat wave Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, temperatures into the 90s.
All right, thank you, Connor.